Hello, first grade friends. I have another book for us to read. This one is called The Great Acorn Mystery. And look at that word acorn. It's an A and then the word corn. Okay, pay attention to how that's spelled. You should be able to spell that correctly for the rest of your life after that. Commit it to memory. See it in your brain. See it right here. Remember, I have like a whiteboard up here and it's written in black. Acorn. A-C-O-R-N. I'll always remember that. The detectives had nothing to do. "We need a mystery to solve," said Jabber. "Here's a mystery," said Dot. "What is this little oak tree doing here?" I don't know if you could tell, is that a white oak or a red oak? I know the answer to that, and there's a way to tell. If they don't tell us at the end, I will help you with that. "Why is that a mystery?" Jabber wanted to know. "Because of the acorn," said Dot. "How did it get here?" "Dot," said Jabber. "What acorn?" Do you see an acorn there? I don't know. "Acorns are oak tree seeds. This little oak tree grew from an acorn, and acorns come from big oak trees." "Oh, that acorn," said Jabber. "But where's the big oak tree?" "That's part of the mystery," said Dot. "Let's look for clues." "Okay," shouted Jabber. "Because we're detectives." He poked his head into a hole. That's him right there. There's his tail. "Hey, this is my hole," said a mole. "Go away. There are no clues down here. Try the big oak tree on the other side of the meadow." "Of course," said Dot. "Come on, Jabber." There's that little mole. They're so cool how they're kind of furry here, but then their little kind of paws and then their snout are like flesh. "That's a long, long way," said Jabber. "How did our acorn get from there to here? Do you think it walked?" "Let's find out," said Dot. "The acorn began at the big oak tree. So will we." And why does that oak tree look small? I thought they said it was a big oak tree. Go ahead, work your brains. I think you know. It's because it's off in the distance. You can even tell, like you see how this hill kind of comes down here? And then there's another row of hills. They look so large because they're in the foreground. They're right here. And that oak tree looks so small because it's off in the distance. The detectives set off across the meadow. After a while, Jabber said, "I'm tired. Can we wonder about all these maple seeds instead?" "There's no mystery in maple seeds," said Dot. "They have wings that twirl, and they ride the wind across the meadow." "Maybe our acorn rode the wind, too," said Jabber. "That is what we're going to find out," said Dot. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen these fall down from the trees, but they kind of flutter and they go as they come to the ground. And they're so cool. I used to have thousands of those things at my house up in Massachusetts because we had a bunch of big oak trees. At last they arrived at the big oak tree. "Look," said Dot. "I bet there are a million acorns here." "They don't have wings," said Jabber, "but they taste good." "Don't eat them, Jabber. They're clues." So I don't know if you could see the acorns right here. Here, that's an acorn, that's an acorn, that's an acorn, that's an acorn, that's an acorn. "Acorns don't have wings, but they might have sneaky feet," said Dot. "Let's keep watch and see if they start to move." Plip! An acorn dropped from the big oak tree. Jabber poked it with a stick. "This acorn isn't going anywhere," he said. "None of them are." squirrel came and sat down among the acorns. Jabber, look, Dot whispered. What is he doing? Oh, gasped Jabber. He's eating our clue. He can't be, said Dot. The shell is still on it. So why is he stuffing it in his mouth? Asked Jabber. And I don't know if you've ever seen squirrels eat, but next time you see them out in a field or near a tree, watch them. They kind of put some between their little and then they go. And they keep looking around because they want to be aware of their surroundings and, see if there are any predators like cats or other things that may want to have them for a snack. The squirrel ran off. Oh no, he's stealing the acorn, the detectives cried and ran after him. So they're chasing the squirrel. You could just see his bushy tail. That's something great where the artist didn't have to make the whole squirrel. They just made its tail going in this direction, and you can just tell that that is the squirrel running away from them. When the squirrel stopped, they stopped and watched to see what would happen next. What's he doing now? Asked Jabber. Digging a hole, look. He's hiding the acorn. Jabber stared at Dot. Maybe he's planting it. Could it be? I know what I'm thinking. Of course, said Dot. Our acorn crossed the meadow on squirrel feet and got planted by squirrel feet, said Jabber, and grew into the little oak tree, said Dot. The mystery is solved. We are two clever mouse detectives. Hooray! Shouted Jabber. Now what will we do? Find another mystery, said Dot. But I'm hungry, said Jabber. First, let's go eat some of those leftover clues. Oh, this is interesting. More about acorns and oak trees. And I'm just going to read it like this. I hope that's okay. That'll be easier for me. Every full-grown oak tree has acorns, and every acorn is the seed of a new tree. Millions and millions of acorns drop from oak trees every year, and many acorns travel to other locations where they sprout and grow into new trees. Some acorns travel by squirrel, as Dot and Jabber discovered. Squirrels gather acorns, carry them away, and bury them to store and eat later. If a squirrel doesn't come back for an acorn, the acorn may sprout and grow into an oak tree. There are many other ways acorns move from place to place. Probably the most common mode of travel is by water. Oak trees growing near lakes, rivers, and streams drop acorns into the water, and the currents carry the acorns far from the parent trees. When the acorns wash up on land, some sprout and grow. Birds and other animals may pick up acorns and carry them to new places. People help acorns travel too by collecting them and dropping them someplace else. Did you ever think about what would happen if all the acorns from all the oak trees sprouted and grew? There would be a lot of oak trees. Luckily, nature keeps everything in balance. Animals eat most of the acorns on the ground, and just enough of the ones left behind grow into oak trees. When the time comes, those new trees drop acorns, and the cycle continues. And it's the wonderful cycle of life of a tree. And we know that when trees die, when they've had their life, then eventually they fall down, and then they lay flat on the earth, and then they deteriorate over time. They decompose, and animals help that happen, and weather and water and wind helps that happen in time. And then eventually all of that big oak tree or tree trunk becomes soil again, and really rich nutrient soil. And then from that soil, other trees sprout up. So they use the nutrients from the old dead tree that goes back into the soil, and new ones sprout. It's such a beautiful system. Let's go back real quick to that first page here. And this is how you tell the difference between a white oak and a red oak. Now this one right here has rounded leaves. That is a white oak. Now if these had sharper leaves, like almost like a fire, it almost looks like it's like a fire or a flame because they have sharp edges on them, that would be a red oak. So this is a white oak, and the way you remember it is white, round, puffy clouds. And the other way you remember red oaks is red oak, fire is red, and it has those sharp edges. Anyhow, that's how I remember it. We have to come up with ways to remember things sometimes. And that's how I remember that. But I believe someone taught that to me. So it's actually a really good way to remember that. White oaks, round edges, white puffy clouds. Red oaks, sharp edges, fire. That's how you remember. All right, take care. See you soon.